Well, greetings, vinyl community, and welcome to a special April Fool's edition of VC Friday. It is April, and I'll be your fool today. Because, yes, I got fooled again. This is a callback to last week's video where I showed that Genesis LP that, when I got it home, turned out to be unplayable because it was so badly heat damaged. This is another LP that has some damage, not nearly so severe, so it's a playable album, and I'm able to add it to my collection, and it is the album Electronic Music from 1967 on the Folkways label. So it has one of those cool Folkways covers where the paste-on only covers about 1/3 of the back cover. And it comes with the Folkways scholarly liner notes in a separate insert, but it is heat warped. Not so much that it's unplayable, but it does produce noise, and it's kind of a shame because it affects the first, say, 3 minutes or so on each side, and that kind of spoils two of the most accessible and entertaining tracks on the album. This is electronic music produced at the University of Toronto Electronic Music Studio, and the side one, track one, that's affected all the way through by the noise is Dripsody by Hurtleturtled. And that's an etude for variable speed recorder. Because this is earlier days of electronic music. They don't have synthesizers per se. So most of this is music that's produced with relatively simple electronic equipment, oscillators and such, and a lot of tape manipulation. So this track, Dripsody, is the sound of a single water drop manipulated on tape to produce a whole sonic spectrum of rhythms and sounds, and it's a pretty fun piece. And similarly, side 2, track 1 is Fireworks by Val Stevens. Dr. Val T. Stevens, who is by profession a doctor specializing in anesthesia, it says here. A few of these people are in the electronic music field, are not musicians necessarily by training. So Val Stevens is a doctor. Hurtleturtled, who designed this multi-track tape recorder for the electronic music studio, he was a physicist. And J.D. Robb, who's maybe the best known name here, not to be confused with the author J.D. Robb, who's completely different. This J.D. Robb was trained at Yale by Horatio Parker. I talked about Horatio Parker way back when I did a video about Charles Ives, because Horatio Parker was an influence and a mentor to Charles Ives, who studied under him at Yale. Well, J.D. Robb was at Yale with the same professor, Horatio Parker, and like Charles Ives, he realized he wasn't going to make a living for himself, or at least not a comfortable one, on music. So he went into professional life. Like Charles Ives became a highly successful insurance executive, J.D. Robb, he became an attorney. So that's what you have to do if you're going to make electronic music. Fireworks, which I was going to talk about when I got sidetracked, is also a very fun piece of music. A lot of really enjoyable sounds, because there's a basic rhythm going on and these sort of pings and wheeze happening over it that kind of evoke the feeling of fireworks. I think it's kind of a low-key fireworks. It's just sort of happy colors and not big explosions or anything. The track that I'm sampling, though, is Gene Eichelberger Ivy who's the only female composer on the LP. And that's interesting because I think female composers have had more of a presence in electronic music, because you compare it with symphonic music. The old classical world was very much a boys' club, and women didn't get a lot of opportunities. And I think there's more equity over the years in the electronic music field. So there is Jean Ivy working in the electronic music studio, not at Toronto though. I think they've got a couple of ringers here, because her piece, which is Pinball, and is created entirely from the sounds of a pinball machine, was produced at the University of Brandeis. Here's a picture of J.D. Robb at the studio. So I think he's got the University of Toronto proper location there, the proper locale. The next couple of albums are both rock albums from the 70s that I would place in the art pop bag, starting with the 1976 album from Steve Harley and Cockney Rebel, the last album by Cockney Rebel, Love's a Prima Donna. And this is somewhere between 10cc and Todd Rundgren. And when I say Todd Rundgren, I'm thinking of specifically A Wizard, a True Star, because it's really got that same kind of attention deficit disorder programming, where the music is just constantly hopping from one groove, from one genre to another. This is a concept album about different aspects of love, and it includes, for the first time on a Cockney Rebel album, a cover version of the Beatles' Here Comes the Sun. Very wild and wacky programming and production, big production, including orchestras and choruses here and there, vocal vocoder effects added to Steve Harley's voice, and a cover that I remember causing a big stink in Trouser Press magazine when they tried to interview Steve Harley, and everything just got hung up on them trying to compare this to that Robert Palmer album that has a kind of similar pose. And Steve Harley was completely unfamiliar with that album cover and was not happy that his cover was being compared to anything else. And all we really learned from that exchange is that in Steve Harley's estimation, the model on the cover, who is a friend, has an extremely appealing bum. And then also from 1976, the second album from the American prog band Crack the Sky. The album is Animal Notes. I was actually out looking for Crack the Sky's first album, the self-titled one, which is something I thought I had in my collection, but it seems I don't, so I was looking for it, but I found this one instead, and I also needed this. Crack the Sky is a band from West Virginia, and this one has a very 10cc kind of feel again. When I first heard the opening track, We Want Mine, for the first time, I thought that was 10cc. There's also maybe elements of Queen to this, and the album was originally planned to be a concept album or rock opera about the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. Don't ask me why a band from West Virginia got that idea, but that was the plan, and that ended up just being condensed into one 7-minute epic on this album, Rangers at Midnight. But this has some great songs, some of my favorite songs, including, the aforementioned We Want Mine and Virgin No, which I've got a needle drop queued up for. And just very fine stuff, again, in the arty, very witty, kind of comical lyrics. And they are duly printed on the inner sleeve. And this is on the Life Song label.
Oh, brother, has it really changed? Has it changed that much? Have I gone too far? All my life, I've stuck around in the rain of salvation. All my life, I've stepped into the grave of me.
And then the last album in this group, these are all records that I picked up a few weeks back at Originals on Fillmore in San Francisco, also from 1976. This is the fourth album by Secret Oyster, Straight to the Krankenhaus. This is really great jazzy, fusiony prog rock, all instrumental from Denmark. You'll hear elements of Weather Report, elements of Mahavishnu, Brand X very much, but also more straight prog rock ideas like Camel and to some extent Genesis. Straight to the Krankenhaus, that's German for the hospital. So I don't know why the Danish band, yet again, they've got something odd geographically going on with a mixed English and German title. And this is just another really enjoyable listen, definitely recommended to prog fans. Next couple of albums were found at my local record shop, Vinyl Solution, and the first is a record by Shankar, also known as L. Shankar. The L stands for Lakshmi Narayana, and under the name L. Shankar, he made an album for Frank Zappa's label, the Zappa label, produced by Zappa, Touch Me There. But this is an album on ECM from 1984, Vision. Now, Shankar has a bit of a reputation because he made an album called The Epidemics with Steve Vai playing violin. So there's another Zappa connection. And that is widely considered to be the worst thing that ECM ever put out. And I've never heard that album, but I certainly know that reputation, and it made me a little trepidatious of buying a Shankar album on ECM, and I definitely need not have worried because this is a beautiful album. And it's got a Scandinavian connection, so it fits right in with that last album I talked about, because the only accompanists on here are the Danish trumpet player Palle Mikkelborg and the Norwegian saxophone player Jan Garbarek. And Shankar himself plays the, what does he call it? 10-string stereophonic double violin. Now, that's an electric violin with 2 necks. But as you might expect from the absence of a rhythm section, this is very floaty stuff. It's got some fusion passages to it, but it's also got a lot of kind of droning, spacey, very glacial in its slow movement, drony music. Very, very lovely stuff. Glad I was not afraid to pick this one up. And it is dedicated by Shankar. I dedicate this record to my late beloved bunny rabbit Sadhu, who was my inspiration for this music. Finally, I picked up a copy of Bob Dylan's 1978 album, Street Legal. And this is kind of a forgotten album because it comes in between 2 really important epochs in Dylan's career. On the one side, there was the big mid-70s comeback with the 74 tour with the band, and the brilliant Blood on the Tracks and Desire albums, and then the Rolling Thunder Review. Then on the other side, there was the big Born Again era with Dylan getting in the news for converting to Christianity and infamously refusing to play his old secular songs at his concerts, and having the big radio hit with You Gotta Serve Somebody. But this came out in between those things, and it gets a little bit overshadowed by the tumultuous events in Dylan history and lore. But it's a fine album with great songs like Senor, Tales of Yankee Power, We Better Talk This Over, Changing of the Guards, and Baby Stop Crying. So a little Dylan added to the collection, patching a hole there. Still a lot of holes in my Dylan vinyl collection, but I'm not trying to get it all. No needle drop, because you know what Dylan sounds like. And besides, Sony tends to be picky about copyright stuff. So that's another VC Friday, and it didn't cost you a penny more than the last one did. So what a bargain you get on this channel. Thanks very much for watching. Be well. I will talk with you again soon. Bye-bye for now.